Women will cheat on you if you show too much emotion and will cheat on you if you show too little emotion. Maybe I'm generalizing, but that's fucking nuts. I think that's true.
Welcome to the Empty Opinions Podcast, bitch.
All right, everybody. Yeah, I'm back, and it's just me after a while. You know how it is. Sometimes I cannot find a guest to come and do this show, or sometimes I just be procrastinating and I do not invite anybody. Yeah, that's right. I started the fucking freestyle again. You know it's tight. Oh, wow. Yeah, sometimes I just do not communicate and tell guests like, oh, wait, you should come on this day or that day. Oh, no way. You know I don't like to play any type of way. I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck is your issue. All you bitches on that issue. Yeah, you tryna get an issue from me? All right. That's it. That went by really quickly. That's what happens when you have fun. Welcome to the Empty Opinions Podcast, a solo edition where it's just me talking. These episodes normally don't do well, but I procrastinated and wasn't able to get a guest this week because it had nothing to do with anybody. It just had to do with me kind of push. To be honest, it's like sometimes I guess I just don't want to get a guest on, or like I'm having trouble deciding, okay, who's the next person, right? Like who's the next person I'm going to get on. Sometimes I get too indecisive and time goes by and time gets wasted. So then I'm in this position where I have to do it by myself. But I don't mind that. You know, every once in a while I feel like a solo episode is good just to do. But before we get started, I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you follow me on social media at Eladio Talks, Eladio Talks on Twitter and Instagram. But also make sure to follow the podcast in brand at My Empty Opinions on Instagram and Twitter as well to know everything that's happening in the Empty Opinions universe. If you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, hello, you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, and I'm doing a little bit of ASMR, just for you, because you're a great listener. If you are on Apple Podcasts, please rate the podcast 5 stars. Helps very much. And also leave a review if you would like. And if you do leave a review, I will read it at the end of every podcast episode. Obviously, some of you are not taking up on that offer because nobody has left any fucking ratings or reviews, but I'm just putting that out there. If you want to be part of the show in some way, shape, or form, just leave a review and I will read it. I will read anything you write. Definitely not. People can write some wild shit. You know, I will read it. I will predetermine if it's right to read or not, or I'll just censor it and still kind of read it, but censor out the bad parts. I don't know how I would deal with that. Just assume I will read it, and then if I don't read it exactly how you would like, then, you know, it is what it is, like the president said. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, hello. I'm talking now directly to the camera. How are you? Now I'm making eye contact. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell to know when new videos come out to this YouTube channel. Like this video. Comment your favorite part of the podcast. And, what else? Share it with a friend if you think they might also enjoy this podcast. But, that's about it. Let's just jump straight into what I'm going to be talking about this episode, which largely revolves around me, obviously. You know, podcast has my name in it, so you should expect some things that are about me. But for this specific episode, you know, I thought, okay, let me take an event that has been happening in my life recently, right? Like something that just kind of happened to me, a pretty big thing, or I guess the only piece of drama that's happening to me currently, and turn it into certain topics and lessons that it could be, you know, broader topics that I could expand and kind of touch on and make it more relatable to everybody, right? But you know how they say it's like the most relatable things are the most specific things. Like the broader it gets, the less specific it gets. That's such an obvious statement. I can't believe I just said that. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like when you are very specific about something, people can sort of connect with that specific experience way more than if you just give an average, broader response. But you know, and as I run through these topics, more and more pieces of this event will come out. I don't want to just come out here and just tell you what happened, because that, I think I've realized, is too, you know, self-centered. Um, in the past, I've done that where I just come on a podcast and just describe an event and just think it's interesting. I make it interesting somewhat, somehow. But for this instance, I'll try to make it more of a show, and rather than just me talking about a certain thing that people might not give a fuck about. So I guess the first question I have here in the rundown is just, what is a casual relationship? So now, I mean, that's pretty much what I've been going through and what I've been having trouble with recently, right? So, like, I was thinking, like, what is a casual relationship? Because I'm kind of in one right now at the moment. That's what it is. And, even the word relationship with casual is a thing that makes me confused. Because, I mean, that's a legitimate question I have. How is a casual relationship even possible, right? Because it seems like like an oxymoron. That sentence seems like an oxymoron, like casual and relationship. What do we associate with casual? Casual, right? Like not no commitments, no taking into account anything else. We just have this one thing that we want to do and that's it. And then what's relationship? What does that mean? Well, that means commitment, right? That means, compromises. That means taking somebody else's feelings into account. So, I mean, the term casual relationship is a thing, right? Like, but, people don't call it that. People call it friends with benefits. That famous phrase, friends with benefits. Does that shit work? I guess that's my overall, topic. I guess if I want to dive into the casual relationship shit, does a friends with benefits scenario work? It could, but not for me. Let me just say that right now. I mean, it's not that it can't work for me. It's just that there's something with me where, like, and that here I go again, making it about myself. But listen, I just need to give you my perspective in this. There's something when it comes to me where I just want to, I just want to feel loved, right? And that's a thing. That's actually something I've struggled with, right? Like me personally, I want to feel loved. That's like my main thing that I want, right? And later on, I have a topic called "What Do I Actually Want?" I think this is all just gonna be fucking jumbled and mix and match. We're just gonna have a bunch of shit to talk about, whatever. So what, like, so like I've realized like a lot, like I have what I think, this is all self-diagnosed. I think I have pathologically low self-esteem. I don't know why that is. I've actually talked about this in previous episodes. I talked about this with Diaka Theum, and we talked about just how can a guy or anybody get self love, right? Like how can you improve your self esteem? And what she said was just do things that you enjoy doing. But that's a problem, right? Like I enjoy doing this podcast. I enjoy movies. I enjoy music. I enjoy podcasts, right? Like I enjoy all that kind of shit. I love creating content. I love like creating something that is like very good quality and then putting it out there and me being able to, indulge in that. But that's where I think pathological low self-esteem comes in, and that's why it's so hard for me to actually develop self-esteem. I think it's because those things make me happy and satisfied at the moment, but it kind of goes away as soon as it's done. And I think that's what makes it so hard for me to be solely in a casual relationship, right? Because when you think about casual relationship, it's fleeting, right? Which, like, it kind of doesn't make sense that I'm saying, oh, it's fleeting, so I don't like it. Since what I just described is something, it's a feeling that I love having, but it goes away, floats away into the wind. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that, one of those things that makes me, that helps with my self-esteem is obviously somebody fucking, honestly, like foreplay, like that kind of shit. That's all shit that I enjoy. It makes me feel happy in the moment. Sex or that kind of shit, not as much. So I'm in a weird, like, tricky situation where, like, the best thing for me would be a relationship, but it also wouldn't at the same time. And it's because, like I said, the self-esteem and it's not quite there. So that's what they always say, right? Like that's why women stop dating guys. They're like, you know what? My self-esteem is low. I don't love myself enough yet. I'm not going to date anybody until I love myself and work on my issues, right? That's kind of the boat that I am in. But the problem is that I don't think I would be able to fully satisfy myself. And I mean, that sounds weirdly sexual. I didn't mean it to sound that way. But what I'm talking about is just, when it comes to love and self esteem. And I think that's where the pathological low self esteem comes in. And that actually, you know what's so funny? I think I'm starting to realize right now while I'm talking, right? Because that's all I do. I kind of just talk and talk and talk until I come to a conclusion. Is that I actually, like, the problem with me is that I shouldn't be in a relationship because it would never work out, like really a relationship, because I wouldn't ever be like fully satisfied. I will have that person there that will be good, right? Like to go to every time. But in a relationship, they always say, "Oh, the flame kind of dies, these or that." You kind of just get comfortable and fall into your position. So that's the thing. So I want the shit that comes with a relationship, but I shouldn't be in a relationship because if I do get in a relationship, then it's just not gonna work out because I'm never gonna be fully satisfied. Really strange. And I mean, what the fuck is the overall point that I'm trying to make with this? I don't know. I just kind of went on a tangent. I just wanted to talk about this. But I guess what I'm trying to say is just like a casual relationship, the idea of it, I don't know who it works for, to be honest. And I don't think I've ever heard of in a case where like it actually works. Because you always hear like people who are in a casual relationship, like they like, or friends with benefits, right? Like it works out for a moment, but inevitably one of the two people catch feelings, and that's where things go awry. So I am actually interested in like finding out and asking people, hey, have you ever been in a casual relationship? Has it worked? For how long did it work? You know what I mean? Like, I'm interested in that. But I totally understand when women want to like they want to work on themselves and build themselves up to be to the point that they can be in a relationship. And that's even something that CD Theum said in the last episode. He was like, if you're not happy with yourself, then you're not going to be happy in a relationship. So my worry is that I don't think I'm ever going to be, happy. That sounds really depressing. But what I'm trying to say is just that, like, because I don't think I would ever be, like I said, the pathological low self-esteem. I don't think I'm going to be fully happy with myself at any point. I don't think there's anything I can really do that would really strongly help my self-esteem, like permanently. So then maybe I should just never be in a relationship. That's really sad. Where am I trying to go with this? I try to have a structure for this podcast because I wanted to put more effort into it. But I'm starting to realize, like, the way my mind works, it jumps from thing to thing. It doesn't really make sense. That's the thing. You know what? I feel like this podcast is interesting because it gives a glimpse into my mind. And my mind is just a chaotic place that jumps from place to place and doesn't really even know what the fuck it's saying. I mean, the podcast is called Empty Opinions, so don't be surprised when I say I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about most of the time. But, that's the thing that is interesting, I think. It's just jumping from point to point, trying to make sense of something you don't really make sense until it does make sense. But by the point that you made it make sense, you've jumped through 100 different topics. But I just wanted to start off this podcast talking about a casual relationship and how, to me, that doesn't really make sense, right? Like, friends with benefits, I can understand, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, I think it's very hard for people in general, not just guys or girls or women. You know what I mean? I think it's hard for people to differentiate, sex and lustful shit with emotions. Because I just feel like I guess that's my problem. I think I lustful shit, I take it's validation, right? It's like it's making my self-esteem even higher, and that I get, I confused with love. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying at this point. All I'm wondering is that, like, what makes sense? Who likes who the most is what I'm trying to figure it out. Who likes who the most is a very interesting question when people are talking or in a relationship. And does it even matter? And can it cause issues? I think this balance is, you saw how I just, I got to stop it right there. I'm going to stop that transition because it actually went so well. The way I just kind of weaved from that topic to the next one, it honestly kind of scared me. I was like, that's almost uncanny how quickly I moved on. So I just had to point it out. But now I'm going to be talking about, when two people get together, does it matter who likes who the most, right? And this is something, again, this is another thing that's been, like, interesting to me finding out, because recently I thought this girl I was talking to, she liked me more than I liked her. And then I started to do this thing where, like, I guess I was trying to match that thing that I thought. And then it turned out she felt like I liked her more than she liked me. And I mean, it could have been true. I think maybe by me, like, pushing myself to, show my emotions more, I think it came off like I liked her more. And maybe I did like her more. But I just found that interesting how both of us thought the other liked each other more. And I just wonder, is that healthy? Is that good? I don't know, but I just found it interesting that both of us thought the same exact thing and we're both wrong, I think. Yeah, we're both wrong because I thought she liked me. Well, I guess she wasn't wrong, but we both had different perceptions of who liked who the most. And I'm just wondering, is that healthy? Or is that normal? That, like, is it always the case that somebody likes the other person more than, in that this is just normal in every relationship? And is that good, right? Like, let's say if a guy likes a woman, that's what I think is really interesting. Because let's break that down. If a guy likes a woman way more than the woman likes a guy, I think that women actually find that a bit of a turnoff. They're like, oh, it's too easy almost. Like, women see it as like, oh, he's too much of my grasp. I have him wrapped around my finger, and then they get bored. But if the woman likes a guy more, I mean, what does that say? I think that's the answer. I think the way a relationship should be, I think the woman should like the guy more. But that's the thing about it. It's so hard for women. It's hard. I mean, people just aren't honest. Let's just be honest. People aren't honest. People never reveal, how much they like the other person. I did that in I did that, and it made the person uncomfortable. It's funny because I tweeted something out. I was like, you think I'm too intense with the way I'm showing my crush on you, and it's making you uncomfortable. Okay, sorry about that. Haha. Like, that was a tweet because I feel like that's my problem. I guess sometimes I can get too carried away because I'm an honest person, and I'm the kind of person that needs to share his feelings. So I don't know if that's actually good. I think I'm the opposite of how a lot of people are, or maybe should be, with showing their emotions and it being too obvious. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe, a lot of people have told me it's like, you shouldn't care, or you should, like, tone it down, or you should play it more cool. I think that's my problem, and I think that's the thing that possibly has been damaging a lot of my relationships that I've been in the past. It's just I show too much. And it's a thing that I have trouble with because on one hand, I totally get that. Woman, like I said, a woman can get bored if you show too much affection, and they feel like it's too easy and there's no challenge for them. But on the other hand, I almost feel phony if I don't reveal exactly how I feel at all times. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's anxiety. I don't know if that's narcissism. I don't know what the fuck it is. But I just know it's something that, like, I need to always let people know how I'm feeling and what is going on. Like, I always need to be extremely self-aware at all times and let people know I know what the fuck is happening. You know what I mean? Like, I see what's happening. And I don't know if that's, like I said, that might be some autistic shit now that I think about it. That might just be some autistic shit that, like, I always need to, like, control the vibe of the room. I think that's what it is. It's control. I think control has a big thing to do with it. There's this fly. Is this the fly that landed on Mike Pence's head? I don't know, but it's flying around. I don't know how the fuck it got in here. But I think at the end of the day, yeah, control does play a huge part into why I'm always so self-aware. It's because I want to dictate the energy. I have trouble going with the flow. Instead, I want to be the flow. It's something I've noticed recently. Because I remember when I had that episode, the intervention episode, where I had all these people here. They were, obviously I invited them to see my apartment. We were all talking and hanging out. And every time there would be, like, an awkward silence, I had to say something. I had to, like, address it. It's like, oh man, why is this so awkward? Or, like, I had to ask something, or I had to, like, embarrass myself a little bit, or I had to become the center of attention because I felt like, this is getting out of my grasp, right? Like, there's no, it's getting out of me. Now I'm just part of this room and the vibe of this room instead of me controlling it. And I invited all these people to my apartment. So I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm not going to let this shit get out of my hands. And that actually is bad. Again, back to the autistic thing. I'm kind of on that recently. I've been thinking, I feel like I have a lot of autistic tendencies because, like, every time that would happen, I would just, And the autistic thing is like I would ignore people's like social cues or body language or like their vibes because I was just so consumed into controlling the vibe of this room that I'm recording in right now that I guess I was kind of ignoring. Some people are probably like uncomfortable or like they were just trying to chill, and I was just too pushy with everything I was doing. But but going back to the original thing, who likes who the most? I don't know. I don't think. I wonder, is it ever 50-50 is my question. Like, when two people like each other in a relationship, is it ever 50-50? I don't think so. I think it's very hard for a relationship to have a 50-50 like ratio of the people, of those two people liking each other the same. That seems kind of almost crazy to think about. And I don't even know how you would measure that, but I just find that interesting, like who likes who the most, and if that even matters. Um, I think ultimately it's healthier for the guy to slightly like the woman less. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it keeps the relationship a little bit more interesting, and it offers women this thing of like a danger. It's funny because I was just listening to a podcast that was kind of talking about this, how like women or just the other partner in general, they kind of want to feel like they have something that other people could have easily. So when a guy is obviously showing, oh, I like you too much, like he's really like honest with their feelings, they feel like, oh, they're not gonna leave me, and then they start to slip away, and then you're just like, and then all of a sudden she's cheating, and then you're like, wait, what the fuck happened? She was like, probably subconsciously like, I knew, you're not gonna leave me, you love me too much, right? And most of the time they're right. If a guy likes a woman too much, there's probably gonna be very hard for that woman to leave. So now I think I understand why women cheat. Listen, if you're a guy, you don't want to get cheated on, just act like you like the woman slightly less than she likes you, and you're never in there. The relationship is never going to end because the woman is always going to try to keep them with you. Because if they feel like they got you firmly in their grasp, if you're pussy whipped, which is it's funny, it's a term that is a very popular term, whipped, like pussy whipped, then they probably feel like, whatever. I don't even have to work for it. It's like, and it goes both ways, right? Like you might feel like when you're in a relationship, a lot of women say that the guy also does that, where they're like, you're never, they like after like, let's say 6 months together, a year, they're like, they stop doing shit. They stop trying to like give her gifts or treating her special because they feel like they will never leave. And I think a lot of women also cheat. I mean, women cheat regardless, bro. I mean, women cheat. Listen, if you listen, let me just say this: women will cheat if you show too much emotion, and then women will cheat if you show too little emotion. You have to find the perfect balance, and that's just what women are. Women don't have gray areas. That's one of those realizations I'm making recently with the more women I talk to. There is no gray area with women. They're either extremely on one side or extremely on the other, right? They'll cheat on. That's so crazy. Hold on. No. I gotta stop and think about this. What I just said. Women will cheat on you if you show too much emotion, and will cheat on you if you show too little emotion. Maybe I'm generalizing, but that's fucking nuts. I think that's true. Bro, that's a genius insight I just came to on this podcast. This podcast could have been trash up until this point. But now I just set a fucking goal. I just fucking found a diamond in the rough. This fucking mud of shit. I was able to find a perfect line. I'm definitely tweeting that. Women will cheat on you if you show too much emotion and not enough emotion. You better find the right fucking line. You better toe that line perfectly, bro, or she will cheat on you. Wow. All that from who likes who the most. That's really, really funny. Okay, that's another topic that I wanted to talk about. I guess this can also lead to women cheating or the guy cheating, or just both of you not being on the same page. But misreading signs, that's something that again, all these questions have to do with this recent experience I've gone through. Like I definitely misread. I feel like I misread signs all the time. Like I see certain things that are like, oh, this means this. And I feel like that's not healthy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that leads you down the wrong path. I feel like just because certain things might seem like they're certain things doesn't mean that they are those things. That's a slightly worse quote than the one I just said. But regardless, Like when you read, like for example, let's use me as an example because obviously something like this happened to me. This girl I was talking to, right? And I talked about this in a recent episode of the EP show, the one called Never Ending Story, if you want to know a little bit of background of this. So, this girl that I liked, right? And I thought things were heading a certain way, and they're not, right? She put a hard stop to wherever I thought this shit was going, which I'm not even mad at. It's just what it is. But I thought it was heading a certain place, but then I was doubtful because certain things were making me think like, oh, I feel like she's not really interested or she's not as interesting, which is funny because there's something clearly telling me that she might not be as interested as I think. But then I find a sign like this, right? So, I saw Stranger Things season 3, and there's a scene in the second to last episode, I believe, or last episode, I don't remember, where Dustin and Susie sing a song. They sing the Never Ending Story theme. And that part I always get chills and break down whenever I hear that song because I don't know, to me it symbolizes like true love and the thing I truly want. I actually want to break that down, and I think that's gonna, if I really study that song and dig deep into why that makes me cry, that will probably reveal what I actually want, which is an upcoming segment or a topic that I want to talk about. But that song really hits me emotionally. So one day I'm scrolling through this girl's pictures, and that's one of her captions, like the first 4 lines. Turn around, look at what you see. Come on, bro. You can't say I'm a horrible singer anymore. Listen, I've been singing for 6 years, like actually trying to get better, and I think I am. But regardless, I saw those lines, and I'm like, oh, wow, this girl is the one. This is the one. I can't let this get away. I'm going to procure this at all times. Guess what? I misread that. I definitely misread that sign because to me, I thought that sign was like, don't, you got to go all into this, or you got to really like, look at this and be mindful of this. This is the, I'm not saying she was like the one or anything, but it was like, this is clearly a sign that you guys should be together. Turns out, it could still very well be, but it's not as deep of a sign as I thought. It really just is a coincidence. And that's the thing about humans. Humans, a lot of the coincidences that we see in life, are just coincidences. Usually, when it's not love, when it has nothing to do with like a person that likes me or like, love shit or like a crush or whatever, anything besides that, I'm usually able to tell that it's just a coincidence. Like a lot of things happen where I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. That's a crazy coincidence. It's not a sign. It's nothing. It's just a coincidence because I've read a lot that like humans tend to make connections or shit that is completely random to make it make sense in their mind, because if it's just because if they don't make it make sense, it will just go crazy because it makes no fucking sense, and we try to make a connection out of anything, right? So usually in anything in life, I'm able to stay pretty rational, like, oh, that's a coincidence. But for whatever reason, I guess this is just one of my fucking blind spots, one of my soft spots, right? Like one of the things that I struggle with as a person, like deeply, is just affection and like somebody liking me, right? So when I saw that this girl had, her caption was the song that I cry to every time I hear it because it's about love, I thought, so this must mean we're gonna be together. And then I kind of went off on that assumption, and then it turns out I was kind of wrong. So like I bet you people misread signs all the time, and I feel like that's just a deeply human thing that we all do. So I feel like that's an interesting thing. And when it comes to like all this other stuff that I talked about, it definitely goes in line with just dealing with people in relationships. Like certain things don't mean what we think we mean. And I think I'm talking to myself when I say this, right? For when I'm listening to this back. Hey, Eladio, you're listening to this podcast and or watching it again, just to listen to yourself talk because you love yourself talk. Hey, I'm talking to you. Sometimes you misread signs, right? And now I'm talking to everybody else. Hello, everybody else. Now I'm talking to y'all and not just me. It's just interesting how we can just misread signs all the time. I certainly did. And then I got brought down to earth hard. And I don't even think it's a bad thing, but, when I was brought down, right, and it was shown what the thing actually was, I had to stop, right, like what this, I guess, relationship or whatever this is, right, this friendship with this person that I liked, when I realized what it actually was, it kind of hit me. It didn't hit me like a train, but it was something that I had to really stop and think, okay, what do I want? I feel like that's a question that I'm going to try to, this is a question I'm going to try to attempt to answer on this podcast. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but, it's, I don't know if I'm going to get to the bottom of it, because if I do, it might just fix my whole life. I think, listen, if I'm able to figure out what the fuck I actually want in life, or at least when it comes to love and women, there might not be any more relationship talk in this podcast. And this has been my bread and butter from the beginning. But since episode 0. But what do I actually want? Right? Like, if I think about it, I say, if I'm going to be, and this is the moment of the podcast when I want to be, bluntly self-aware. I don't know if bluntly is you can make blunt into an adjective. Whatever. I'm gonna be extremely self-aware. Extremely is better. Extremely self-aware here, and try to figure out what do I actually want. Because, and I feel like if anybody's been listening to the podcast through the fucking the year that it's been on, it's been a year and a couple months now. You might be able to tell. Maybe you know the pattern, because I always talk about my whole life. So I feel like people are able to track my life from episode 0 until now, episode 91. But if I try to think, what the fuck do I actually want? What I always thought is just kind of like affection. And I think that's true. But the problem is, like what I said at the beginning of this podcast, that shit is fleeting, man. I don't know. And I think that's just my issue. I think this is why I struggle with a lot of this stuff, is because a lot of the things that I want, that I think I want, are fleeting, and they don't really do anything. And I kind of move past the initial great feeling that I have, and just, and then just go back to, okay, what do I want? Like, I always come back to this scenario, regardless if everything is going great. I always come to, what do I want? Like, I always feel somewhat dissatisfied. And I think that is the pathological low self-esteem. Like I said, is that going to be, that can't be, that's a long ass title. Pathological low self-esteem. That might be the title. Who knows? Or maybe just a casual relationship, a casual thing. I don't know. But, what do I actually want? I do want affection, honestly. Like, I think that is one of the things that I truly do want. I just want somebody, honestly, okay, I think I know what I want, to be honest. I mean, I just want somebody to say, hey, I love you, right? Oh man, hold on. I need to pull up my sound effects, because that's so fucking sad. That's wait, is there like a sad there's this. Yeah, I just want somebody to say I love you. That's not like an aw, that's more like an aw and o and like whatever. But yeah, I mean, everything in that vein, right? And again, going back to the beginning, I think that's what's so hard for me to have a casual thing, because but it's both hard and easy for me to have a casual thing, because if the casual thing is, it's very complicated. I've tried to express this before. I've talked with my sister about it, trying to figure it out. It's a very difficult thing to explain, but it's like, I just want the things that come with a relationship, but casually. And that doesn't make sense, because the things that come with a relationship aren't casual at all. Right? So, what do I want? Like, I guess, yeah, somebody to say I love you, somebody to touch me. And, if I'm being extremely self-aware right now, I feel like I'm very selfish with the things that I want to do, right? And the things that I want, right? Like, if I think about what do I, and, obviously the question inherently is selfish, right? So I'm like, what do I want? It's supposed to be selfish. But like, in a perfect world, what I would want is just like, have a girl come over, we do something, and then she gets the fuck out, and then I'm good for like a week. It's so crazy. It's just literally just me trying to leech onto some sort of affection. I don't think I get any affection, to be honest. I do, but not. Do I? Sometimes I get it from like my mom, like, I love my dad, sometimes. My sister, not really. my young sister, she's not really the type that would give me that kind of affection, but she does sometimes, and is very appreciated. But like, yeah, I mean, what the fuck do I want? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't able to answer it. I thought, I told you it was going to be a hard thing to try to attempt to answer in a podcast. But I don't, I don't know. I think obviously the affection, but in what ways do I want it? What exactly do I want? That's something that I obviously got to work on. And that's something that's going to save me a lot of time and effort and misunderstandings, right? Like, I thought this to myself, right? And this might be a little vulgar, but so, fucking, caution, I guess. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. Just prepare yourself. Embrace yourself for this kind of kind of disgusting sentence that I'm about to say. It's not disgusting, but kind of explicit. But it's an explicit podcast after all. Every episode I mark it as explicit. But like honestly, like I wouldn't even have any issue. I just want company, man. I think that's really literally all I want. All I want is just somebody to be there. You know what I mean? And it's because usually I feel like I feel alone, and I think that might be some depression shit. Whatever the fuck it could be. Being depressed sometimes. I don't know, but I think it is just company because like when I think about it, right? Like would I have trouble? Like even there's a girl who once a week likes me and then comes to my apartment and then we do sexualities. That's the cleanest way I can put that. Or maybe I just give her like I just fucking eat her pussy or something. That's the part I was saying was a little bit explicit. I don't mean to be that explicit, but I'm just saying like even that I wouldn't mind. Like I was thinking back myself, I was like, would you mind that? It's like no. So I think in what the fuck do I get out of it? That's where I get to. That's where you find out what exactly you want. Because if you don't mind it and you're fine with it, then what the fuck exactly do you want? And I think I figured it out. I think it's company, and I'm all great now. I finally figured it out, and it's all good. I have no more relationship or love issues. But yeah, I think maybe it's just company. I think it is. Which I don't know. It's not good, and I think in company not from my fucking family. I've lived with them enough. I mean, that's why I moved out of my apartment. I don't mean just any kind of company. Maybe like I think possibly a friendly company and somebody who I can be horny with. Maybe I just want company with somebody I can be horny with. That's another great title. Be horny with. I'm dropping a lot of fucking amazing one-liners here. I just want company with somebody I can be horny with. What does that say? I don't know, but that thing that just nailed me to a T. But yeah, if I'm thinking about like what exactly I want, I think that is kind of what I want. So I figured it out. A company with somebody I can be horny with. Because like I was thinking like hanging out with friends. I do enjoy that, like talking to certain friends of mine. But then I think about what would make it better if I can like grab them. Like touch, like intimate touch and maybe kissing and then possibly fucking, I don't know, oral sex, all that shit. Like I think that's kind of what I want. And I don't know what that is, right? Because then I started to think like, yo, it's kind of fucked up that I don't like that I have trouble being thoughtful with maybe relationships I've been in. Like whenever they tell me like you have to pay attention to what I like if to give me a gift, I'm like, why can't you just tell me what you want and I'll fucking buy it? Like I don't know if that's being lazy, being selfish. I don't know what it is, but all right, whatever. I mean, I've been so fucking honest this episode. Talk about blunt. Maybe it'll just be called blunt self-awareness. I think that's what it's. I think I might call it that, blunt self-awareness. Because I'm just pouring my heart and soul out in this. But I've been speaking generally about a lot of different topics. That it's not just all me and just me telling shit about myself that has nothing to do with anybody. I'm trying to make it like a universal topic that a lot of people would try to understand. But yeah, that's everything with that. I have two more segments that I want to do. One is completely different from any of this. It's just, I guess, the rant of the week. It's just what I find disrespectful. And I've been thinking about this recently. I think giving, like, I was talking to my sister about this, and she looked at me like I was out of my fucking mind. At least with one of these two things I have written down that I find disrespectful. She thought I was crazy that I said this. And you guys let me know if you think this is crazy. But I feel like, isn't giving somebody ones disrespectful? Because listen, I was working, right? I was doing delivery food, right? And I come to this house, and this house is very nice, right? And the guy comes out. I give him the food. He gives me $9 My first instinct, and I can't lie, was like, is this guy? This is kind of disrespectful to give me this many ones. Like for some reason, I find ones disrespectful. Does anybody else feel that way? Because I feel like maybe that's just my. Maybe I am narcissistic after all, because I truly think that's like disrespectful. But I think that's because I have delusions of grandeur, right? Where I'm like, oh, I deserve better than once, and then I also have this insecurity of like, people not respecting me. So I see this guy in a very nice house that gives me 9 once. The way I read that, instead of being like, wow, he gave me $9 in tips, which was my second instinct, to be honest. To be fair, the second instinct, the first was like, this is fucking disrespectful. Second thing was like, damn, 9 is a lot of money. That's a pretty good tip. That's a great tipper, that guy. What a great guy, but also he's being disrespectful. That was literally what was going through my mind. But I think it's literally just because I was insecure, and I just felt like in terms of power dynamics, I was below him, right? And even literally, because the guy was taller than me too, I believe. But him giving me, coming out of this nice house and giving me this once, I was just like, this is kind of disrespectful. And I told my sister that, and she was like, you're out of your fucking mind. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'm alone in that. Maybe it's just the way I took it, right? Like I'm reading some disrespect into that, as opposed to that act being inherently disrespectful. Another thing that I find disrespectful that has nothing to do. It's actually crazy that me as a guy is saying this, because I should not be saying this. It's a lot of guys that are gonna hate on me and be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You fucking traitor. You fucking you fucking pussy. Why are you saying this? You're a guy. You shouldn't be saying that." But I feel like blowjobs are disrespectful, right? Like just sucking a guy's dick and like looking up at his eyes, and then the guy looking down. And then you just putting something inside of your mouth and like sucking in and out. And you maybe possibly on your knees. Is there anything more disrespectful than that? Am I tripping in that? I think that's very disrespectful, right? Like, I mean, granted, as a guy, it feels great, obviously. Like, no guy is ever going to say no to a fucking blowjob, right? Like, as a guy, it feels great. But I can't help but feel like, feel from the woman's perspective, like, this is so fucking disrespectful. And then I started to think, like, when you eat pussy, when a guy, as a guy, you start eating like a woman's pussy, is that also disrespectful? And I thought, no, because I feel like, for whatever reason, whenever a girl's giving a guy a blowjob, they're always on their knees. I think when a guy's eating a girl out, I don't think a guy's normally on their knees, are they? Or maybe even if they are, you're still like not putting something inside of your mouth as a guy. You're licking. So I don't think that's that disrespectful for a guy to eat a woman out. Like, as a guy, I don't feel disrespectful. I don't feel disrespected at all. But for whatever reason, I feel like a girl, a woman sucking a guy's dick is very disrespectful. Like, just being on the knees, looking up, I wonder, it has to feel demeaning. And maybe some women like that, just for a second, and just in their sexual fantasy, they want to feel a little bit demeaned. But I just can't help but feel like, yeah, this is a little wild. Like, if you really think about it, like a woman sucking a guy's dick is kind of fucking disrespectful. And I mean, then I came to the conclusion of like, it's funny. Ones and blowjobs is what some strippers do. Some strippers are all about that. So then again, I mean, they're getting doubly disrespected. Or maybe they just love it. But yeah, I just think giving somebody once can be disrespectful. At least I take it as such. I don't think it's probably not inherently disrespectful. Like I was thinking, even like, would it be disrespectful if somebody gave you $1? Does anybody feel that way? Am I crazy? Am I just tripping? I feel like I can't be the only one that, like, let's say somebody gives you $1, like just one. Let's not say 9. That might be just more me than anybody. But like $1, if somebody was like, here you go, you would take it, but would that feel weird to you? It would feel weird to me. I was just like, why are you giving me a fucking $1? Like, it almost feels like, again, I think I'm reading more into this than I should, but I just feel like, you think I should be grateful that you give me $1? Like, I think it's a little pride in there, pride and ego. Maybe that's just what this is all about. But these are the things that I find disrespectful that are probably just all in my head. But, yeah, it's just, for some reason I find those things disrespectful. All right, and to end the fucking podcast, I've been talking long enough. Let me see if I can call my friend Jose. and see if he answers. Yeah, I'm gonna call my friend Jose and see if he answers. Just as a random call to end this podcast, just to chill with him a little bit. Because I remember last time I did like a call segment, it was kind of ass because we didn't really talk about anything interesting. Um, but all right, let me call my friend Jose, and I think I have better equipment, and it's probably gonna sound better than last time. So I'm just gonna try to call my friend Jose and see if he answers. He might be busy, obviously. But this is gonna be fun. Let's see if he answers. Um, he's gonna be so confused. Like, why is this motherfucker calling me? And why through FaceTime audio? I have to call him through FaceTime audio because it's like cleaner. Sounds better than a regular call. All right, I don't think he's gonna answer. Hello? 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 Bro, you can hear me? I don't think you can hear me. Hello? Yeah, he can't hear me. He didn't hear me, possibly because of the podcast shit. The podcast equipment. Well, that's a fucking, you know, horrible way to end a podcast. I almost feel like playing a song just so it's not a horrible ending. Um, yeah, I'm gonna do that because I just thought it would be fun to call my friend Jose, but obviously that backfired. I don't think he heard me. He answered, but I don't think he heard me. And if it did, he just didn't want to answer. Um, well, regardless, that's not how I'm gonna end the podcast. Fuck it, I wasn't gonna play a song, but I mean, I can't end that way. That would be such a fucking disappointing way to end this fucking podcast. So let's see. Let me play a song that I've been bumping to recently that I enjoy. Let's see if my Spotify fucking works or not. This was an interesting episode. I feel like I've been talking. I might have talked for like an hour, which is interesting because I usually try to keep it at 30 minutes, but today I try to have more to say. You know, I try to make the episode more interesting, and I think it worked. Hopefully, I mean the fucking music isn't loading, so that's not good. Um, Let me go to my time capsule playlist, and I'm going to play a blast from the past. I'll say blast from the past. I'm gonna play an old song that you might not think I love, but I actually do love. Let me see. I gotta pick a good one. I gotta pick a fucking hard left field type of song, uh, to show you guys a range of what I kind of listen to. Um, yes, I know what I want to play. The way I'm gonna end this episode is playing a TBT, even though today's Monday. I'm gonna do a TBT. It's gonna be a what? How can I say Monday? You know, throw way back. I remember in middle school I came up with way back Wednesday, and people thought it was tough. Um, like I was like, oh, I'm a witty person. Whatever. I'm gonna do a TBT on a Monday. It feels sacrilegious, but fuck it. I'm gonna play this song to end this podcast because my friend Jose didn't fucking answer. So I'm gonna play this. This is gonna be "As Long as You Love Me" by Justin Bieber. Thank you guys so much for listening to this long ass fucking podcast. That it was just me saying bullshit. I truly appreciate it, and hope you found it entertaining. So until next week, I'll see you guys in episode 92. Have a good one.